Hello fellow TV and film fanatics, I'm Greg and I make recommendations for TV shows and movies that you can check out from the comfort of your own home. And March is shaping up to be another massive month for TV fans with brand new shows and a few highly anticipated seasons returning to all the major streaming services. You're going to get thrilling crime dramas, hilarious comedies, and some shows that I'm really excited about here in 2025. And I'm going to go chronologically through all of these brand new shows. Then in the back half of the video, I'm going to go through all of the new seasons coming out. But as always, stop mindlessly scrolling, stop wasting your time. Let's jump in and check it out.
Thank you for finding the time. I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
First on our list here today is the title in March that I am most excited about, and this is Marvel's revival of the Netflix Daredevil character in Daredevil Born Again. This series is bringing back Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock/Daredevil, along with Vincent D'Onofrio, John Bernthal, Eldon Henson, and Deborah Ann Woll, all reprising their roles from the original series. And unlike the original series, this new installment is fully integrated into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So as excited as I am about this one, I am a smidge nervous, and I'm really hopeful that they stay true to what it was. And at this point, specific plot point details are pretty under wraps. The series is expected to focus on Matt's double life as the blind lawyer by day and vigilante crime fighter by night, but so we'll see how this revival series takes this on. And I love cosmic and high-flying action of the MCU as much as any Marvel fan does, but I absolutely love the original Netflix Daredevil show. I thought it was one of their best shows ever. It was incredible, grounded, street-level story, and a huge highlight going into this new one is the cast itself. I'm excited to see them back in these iconic roles, specifically since their performances were a major highlight of that original series. And I'm also intrigued at the potential of additional MCU crossovers. Again, skeptical, but also excited about it, with some interesting layers that could be put on top of this. Maybe some characters like Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, Miss Marvel could end up on the series. But again, Marvel, please do not let us down and make sure that this maintains the same level of grit and maturity and violence as those Netflix versions. And we have waited a long time for this one, so the hype for this show is incredibly high. So it is 100% going to be at the top of my watch list here in March on the 4th.
Poteva essere il Gattopardo.
Next up on March 5th is an international Netflix option here that we're going to be getting, and this one looks rather interesting, and this is Leopard. And this series looks like it's going to be Netflix's next grand-scale historical drama series. It's bringing Giuseppe Tomasi de Lampedusa's classic novel to life, and I do hope that I said that correctly, but this is supposed to be a visually stunning adaptation that's set in 19th century Sicily during the Italian unification. The series follows Don Fabrizio Cabrera as he navigates the decline of the Sicilian aristocracy. It's said to be a story of power, tradition, and the inevitable passage of time as the old world fades and this new Italy begins to take shape. And if you love lavish period dramas with rich historical detail, this looks like it's going to be perfect for you. Just from the visuals in the trailer, you can see this incredible world that they bring to the screen with meticulous production design, sweeping cinematography, and a strong cast of characters. And I did read a little bit of what the pre-screeners said on this one here, and they said you're going to get a lot of political intrigue, a really good character-driven narrative, and some deeply personal storytelling. However, with a story like that, I am going to assume that those of you looking for a fast-moving drama or an action-heavy story, this is probably not going to be your cup of tea. But if you do enjoy a slow-burning historical drama that carries some emotional weight and delivers cinematic grandeur, this could be a solid pick for you in March.
The gun in the credenza. Finish him off now.
What?
What part of this are you not understanding?
Credenza, if I'm being honest, I don't think I know what that is.
Will you just handle this?
If you're not into drama, action, or superheroes like our first two titles, and you're just looking for some laughs, this next pick could be what you were waiting for. And this is a straight up comedy crime series streaming on Hulu, and this is Deli Boys. This series follows two pampered Pakistani American brothers living in Philadelphia whose lives take an unexpected turn after the sudden death of their father. And we get to see them navigate grief, family expectations, and their place in the world as they are forced to reckon with their father's secret life of crime. And the series itself, it looks like it's going to be very funny. The trailer alone actually had me laughing quite a bit at some of the ridiculous situations that these characters are dealing with. Zagar Sheikh and Asif Ali appear to have some quality comedic chemistry in this. From what we've seen so far, they have these very distinctly different personalities in the show that give off this buddy comedy vibe for sure. But Purna Jagannathan looks to be incredibly funny in this. She looks to be one of the leads throughout the series, and she seems to be the more serious character, but it ends up leading to a lot of the humor, as she seems to be the more serious character overall in the series. series that these two over-the-top fish out of water style characters will play off of a lot, and I always find it hard to recommend comedic shows without seeing them, but this one definitely feels like it has a ton of potential. It's playing into buddy cop style, over-the-top, situational, ridiculous type humor, and the creator even talked about how it's going to poke tons of fun at cultural stereotypes throughout the series. So if you're looking for some laughs, this definitely looks like it has the ingredients to be a standout option.
These women are good people. The men, they're a different story.
It's our job to protect them.
Let's move back to something that looks to be a bit grittier and emotional with a crime drama series, Long Bright River. This is a series based on a best-selling novel, and this one is by Liv Moore, and the series is set to follow Mickey, played by Amanda Seyfried, a police officer patrolling the streets of Philadelphia where addiction is a daily reality. At the same time, she's also searching for her estranged sister who is living in the city and battling addiction. But when a string of murders shakes the neighborhood, Mickey fears that her sister could be the next victim, or worse, already one of them. And I've not read this novel, but from what I've read, the series is a lot more than just a crime thriller. It's also this deeply personal story about family and addiction, and the show blends together other elements like suspense and emotion, which could make it a pretty gripping drama series. It does also look like it's going to have a pretty compelling mystery that will also blend into these other topics. And I personally really enjoy Amanda Seyfried. I've recommended her Hulu series The Dropout a few times at this point on the channel, and a huge reason that show is so good is her performance. So I expect her performance in this one to be another major highlight as she takes on this very raw and dramatic role. So if you're into suspenseful, character-driven thrillers, this should probably be on your watch list.
You took our money and dope. Now I have to kill everybody you know.
Another one of the more intense crime dramas that looks to be hitting in March is the Apple TV Plus series Dope Thief. And this is another adaptation of a novel, and this is from Dennis Tafoya. And oddly enough, this is actually the third show in a row now that is set in Philadelphia, but this series follows two longtime friends who pose as DEA agents to pull off what seems like an easy heist. But what starts as a simple scam quickly spirals out of control when they accidentally uncover a massive narcotics operation on the eastern seaboard. And now with danger closing in from all sides, survival becomes their only priority. And I think that this show has a lot of strong elements working in its favor. Brian Tyree Henry leads this cast here, and his performance in almost everything that I've seen has been consistently outstanding, bringing depth and intensity to almost every role. And the thriller aspect of the plot definitely gives the opportunity to deliver lots of tension as the characters try to navigate an increasingly deadly situation. But another huge draw for me on this one is actually Ridley Scott is heavily involved as an executive producer and actually directs the first episode, which almost guarantees they will take advantage of high production values and an immersive cinematic feel. But I do feel like Apple TV Plus has been crushing it lately in general with their shows, but crime dramas do feel like they can be a bit hit or miss depending on how well the storytelling holds up. So if it leans too heavily on the familiar tropes, it could feel a bit predictable, but if it delivers the well-developed characters and strong suspense, it has the potential to be a standout.
Something is off. She has adult teeth. There are signs of puberty. Michael? I don't think she's a little girl.
Next up is a brand new drama miniseries, Good American Family, that's hitting Hulu on March 19th. And this one is inspired by the bizarre true story of Natalie Grace and the Barnett family, which is one that looks equal parts gripping and also very unsettling. The series follows this Midwestern couple who adopts a young Ukrainian girl with dwarfism, hoping to give her a better life. But as time goes on, they begin to suspect that she might not be who she claims to be. And what starts as this act of kindness quickly spirals into a chaotic legal and media circus, focusing on the family's fight for their marriage, their reputation, and just their sanity as the shocking truths come to light. And I'm personally a big fan of true story adaptations, and this one sounds absolutely wild. It dives deep into this family itself, the trust and betrayal that goes on, and from the trailer alone, it looks like it is going to be packed with tension, emotional drama, and some psychological moments that are going to twist and turn around the narrative. Plus, with Mark Duplass and Ellen Pompeo leading the cast here, you can expect some powerhouse performances too. So if you enjoyed the film The Orphan, this concept might sound very familiar, so this might be right up your alley. But for me, I just like true crime inspired dramas, so I'm definitely gonna have Good American Family on my watch list.
Because he's my father.
Let's move forward and talk about another based on a true story option here with the series Happy Face. And this one feels like it could be an intense true crime thriller just reading through the plot, but this one is bringing a real life nightmare to the screen. It's based on Melissa Moore's memoir and popular podcast, and the series follows Carrie Myers, who discovers that her father is the infamous happy face serial killer. And as she digs into his dark past, she gets caught up in a dangerous game with a copycat killer, forcing her to confront the legacy of her father's crimes. And both of these based on a true story options sound crazy to me, and definitely something I'm going to check out here in March. It looks like this one here is going to be another deep psychological thriller. This one's exploring trauma, some crazy family secrets, of course, and then the lasting impact of living in the shadow of a serial killer with tons of suspense. Looks like there's going to be tons of twists, and you can actually feel the chilling atmosphere right in the trailer. And I did say this last month on my What's New in February video, but I do always get excited when a series has a big movie star as part of the cast. Last month we had Robert De Niro in Zero Day, and this month we get Dennis Quaid here in this one. So if you can handle a bit of intensity, Happy Face has all the makings of a binge-worthy thriller on Paramount on March 20th.
There are 200 people down there, including the President of the United States. Did anything unusual happen? Other than my boss dying? Other than that, yes.
Next up is another Netflix series here on our list, and we are getting this one on March 20th, and this is The Residence. This is a darkly comedic murder mystery series set inside the White House, and we see a shocking death that disrupts a state dinner, and now an eccentric detective is called in to investigate. But as she digs deeper into the case, she uncovers a tangled web of secrets, scandals, and nearly everyone has something to hide, albeit in the most ridiculous and comedic ways possible. When I watched the trailer for this one here, it did really remind me of the series on Apple TV Plus, The After Party, where we get this very hyperbolized whodunit murder mystery series, but also we got some really interesting characters, and the cast is led by Uzo Aduba as the lead detective here. But overall, this is an impressive cast just in general. You've got Giancarlo Esposito, Randall Park, Susan Watson, Jason Lee, and a bunch of others that look to add to the overall comedic and entertainment value of the show. And they're playing this variety of truly silly, ridiculous, or just eccentric characters that will help deliver a solid amount of the humor. Plus, the ultra serious White House background setting adds a pretty unique atmosphere to a comedy show, offering plenty of potential for satire and political undertones. So as long as the writing and the character work is strong in this one, this could be a great comedic whodunit to keep an eye out for in March.
What's wrong with you? No one likes you.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm here to save your career. Help me help you win.
You'll make a great studio head.
My next pick here is probably the one outside of Daredevil that I'm the most excited about checking out here in March. And this is a sharp satirical comedy series that takes a look at Hollywood in the series The Studio. And this one, Seth Rogen stars, writes, directs, and executive produces this 10-episode series. And it follows his character Matt, the newly appointed head of the struggling Continental Studios. Desperate to keep his studio relevant, he and his chaotic team of executives must navigate the clash between corporate demands and creative ambitions. And the main reason I'm so excited about this one here is because of its stacked cast. This one includes Rogen, of course, but also Catherine O'Hara, Catherine Hahn, Ike Barinholtz, and Bryan Cranston, with tons of celebrity cameos or guest stars like Olivia Wilde, Anthony Mackie, Johnny Knoxville, Josh Hutcherson, and a bunch of others in there too. And I will say, with Rogen and Evan Goldberg being heavily involved in the creation of this series, I feel like we have a pretty good idea of what the comedic style is going to be in this one here. And if their style's not for you, I doubt this one is going to be any different. But lastly, I did want to mention, I actually really enjoyed the cinematography that we see in the trailer. It does give you a good idea of what the feel of the show is going to be. It had this fast-paced, immersive feel, adding to a manic energy. And the studio does premiere on March 26th, with the first 2 episodes dropping right away, followed by weekly releases. But it looks to have some great potential here in March.
That line separates monsters from men.
Now let's move to the shows with brand new seasons hitting in March here, and the first one that I'm going to talk about is Dark Winds, which we're getting on March 9th. This is a psychological crime thriller set in the Navajo Nation and follows Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn as he investigates different series of crimes, including things like murder and armed car robberies. But as you get into this series, you'll notice it goes way beyond just a crime show. You get corruption, spiritual mysteries, historical traumas, all kinds of different elements to it. And I've really enjoyed the atmosphere and the world that they've built built in this show. It has this rugged desert landscape in the background, a very Western authenticity to it, and some eerie supernatural undertones that make it this pretty unique overall show. And they use some stunning cinematography too to bring this desert landscape to life, along with some truly layered and suspenseful mysteries that slowly unfold episode to episode in ways that you don't really expect. And a huge shout out has to go out to Zach McLaren on this one. His performance in this series has been outstanding up to this point. He brings so much depth and this quiet intensity to the character Leopard, which makes him this very intriguing character to follow along with and root for most of the time. So if they can maintain the core of what made the first 2 seasons so compelling, this one is absolutely worth watching, and it's a perfect time to binge the first 2 seasons before season 3 hits on March 9th.
Imagine if Daddy met someone new? Yucky dogs.
Luckily, Daddy's nuts done dried.
Because Mama's got him in a jar up in heaven.
Okay.
Another comedy option that we are going to get here in March, also on the 9th actually, is the Max series The Righteous Gemstones that returns for season 4. And this dark comedy series follows the wealthy and widely dysfunctional Gemstone family, which is this dynasty of mega church preachers who use faith to fuel their lavish lifestyles, while publicly upholding their image, but behind the scenes they are tangled in power struggles, scandals, and shady business dealings, all through this hilarious and satirical lens. One of the things I love about this show the most is its unapologetic nature, and it does so in all of the right ways. It is packed full of sharp, fearless humor that is always willing to push boundaries, and they do that with this outstanding comedic cast in the show that is led by Danny McBride, but you also have John Goodman, Adam Devine, Walton Goggins, Skylar Gazondo, Gregory Allen Williams, and Eddie Patterson, and it's just to name a few here, but the cast is incredible. They have awesome chemistry together, along with some truly over-the-top and crazy performances that have made this a fan favorite for those who like dark comedies. If the showrunners can maintain the writing, the performances, and the comedic momentum that made this show so good up to this point, this is another quality comedic option in March.
Make them believe in you, and they will follow you to the ends of the earth.
This is what I was born to do.
Next up, for my fellow fantasy fans here, let's talk about the Wheel of Time, which does continue its journey on March 13th with season 3 that is set to expand on its massive world and intricate stories. And to be honest, I just did a whole recommendation of this in my last video last week, so I'm going to be a little bit brief here, but I do want to echo one point from that video. I did not read the books that this is based on, but from what I've read from reviews is that if you have read the books, you absolutely hate this show. And I get that completely. Messing with source material can be infuriating, and I am not here to argue with you that this is a better or even solid adaptation, but knowing nothing going into it, it did allow me to enjoy this series quite a bit. And for those of you not familiar with it, this story follows Moraine as she guides 5 young villagers on a perilous quest, and one of these individuals is believed to be a prophesized figure destined to either save the world or destroy it. And as their paths unfold, the story weaves together political intrigue, magical battles, and the looming threats of darkness, creating a fantasy adventure filled with high stakes and deep world building. And I will highlight that this series has an incredible world that they bring to life, stunning visuals from these incredible landscapes to intricate costumes, top tier special effects, and the show just delivers a visually rich experience that rivals some of the best fantasy adaptations. And I will say it's a dense series that can be hard to follow at times because there's literally so much going on with so many characters, and it's a lot like other large scale fantasy shows and movies at the beginning where you do have to try to understand what's going on, but once you catch on to it, it is a great option. So if you love fantasy epics with deep lore and grand storytelling, The Wheel of Time could be your next binge option.
Any way you can.
When they're on the wrong side of the gun.
Why do you want me to work for you?
Because I don't want to have to kill you.
I do try to stick with shows that I have watched, or at least watched some of it on my list here, but this next title is actually one that caught my eye because I've never heard about it until I was writing this list. But this one looks to have a really intriguing premise and is now getting its 4th season on the 25th, and this is The Cleaning Lady. This series follows Thani De La Rosa, played by Elodie Young, who is a Cambodian doctor living in Las Vegas who is forced into a dangerous world of organized crime to save her critically ill son, and she uses her skills as a cleaner to help erase evidence for a powerful crime syndicate, and she is constantly walking the line between survival and morality. Again, I have not watched this one yet, but from all the reviews that I've read, it says Elodie Young's performance is a major highlight. She brings intensity and heart to a character caught in these impossible choices. And they mention how the show actually delivers some great suspense and some pretty good action, but also explores themes of immigration, healthcare struggles, and just the moral dilemmas of survival in general. So I'm definitely going to try to get caught up on the first 2 seasons on Max with this one, and then the 3rd season's on Hulu, and that's where the 4th season will be released on the 25th.
Remind me again when you're going to retire?
When people stop killing each other.
Why are you working this case?
Because every time I look at her, I see your face.
Then last but not least on our list here today, we see the Bosch universe continue to expand with season 3 of Bosch Legacy, which is obviously bringing back Titus Welliver as Harry Bosch, the former LAPD detective turned private investigator now. And this season is said to further explore Harry's cases in the private sector, while also following along with his daughter Maddie, who continues her journey as a police officer, showing both sides of law enforcement at this point. And if you followed Bosch from the beginning, it is hard to say that this spinoff is as good as the original series, but it still does a great job maintaining the same grounded storytelling, realistic police work, and layered character development that makes this world so intriguing. Plus, and I already mentioned it, but you get Titus Welliver again. He is outstanding. I loved him in the original series, and he continues this in the expanded universe here. He really owns the character of Harry Bosch, capturing his gruff exterior, sharp intellect, and unwavering dedication to solving cases. And now we get to see a great dynamic between Harry and Maddie, which adds an emotional layer to this procedural drama. So if you're a fan of crime dramas, this is a great addition to your watch list. So thanks again for hanging out with us all the way to the end of the video. I do really appreciate it. And if you're looking for more recommendations, you can check out these videos right here, but take a second to hit all the buttons on the screen, like, subscribe, comment on the series you're looking forward to the most in March. But thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.